Hi everyone, it's Paul from CRO Genie here. So a few days ago I was browsing LinkedIn and I came across a post from one of my connections on there, a guy called Ashley Leeds. So Ashley is actually a former client of mine. He's had a CRO audit done by me in the past. And he is really good at LinkedIn. So he helps small businesses get to grips with LinkedIn, get used to posting regularly and generating kind of engagement on there that often leads to leads. And he's running a mini Kickstarter training course for his connections and anybody else who wants to join. But he posted the other day saying, like, what am I doing wrong? So normally when he can get customers in charging £795 for LinkedIn training, but he's running a Kickstarter at just £75 and it is not drawing people in like he was expecting. And ultimately, he's saying, is it my landing page that isn't working? Should I have done a big launch? Is it the time of year? Is it too cheap? Lots of questions because he's not quite sure what's happening. And that is a really common thing. I often come across businesses who have exactly the same problem. I myself have that problem sometimes. And essentially, it could be any one of those things, or it could be a little bit of all of those things, or it could be none of those things. But what I offer to do, since I am the CRO Genie and I'm able to help people optimize their landing pages, I offered to take a quick look at his landing page and let him know if there was anything obvious that I thought could be stopping people from signing up. He came back and said, lots of obvious things, what a generous offer, let's do it publicly. And so that's what this video is. I'm just going to spend a few minutes just going through his landing page and just pointing out some of the things that Ashley can maybe do to improve it, but also hopefully helping you learn that process as well and seeing some of the things that you might be able to apply to your website too. So this is the landing page that Ashley is trying to get people to sign up to his Kickstarter on. And so as we go through it, what I'm going to do is just, I haven't spent loads of time looking at this site in advance because I'd rather experience it a bit like a normal visitor would, in that this is more or less the first time I've seen this page. And when I first land on it, I would say that it looks maybe a little bit cluttered at the top. I think a little bit more spacing around this area would be nice, just to help this look easier to digest and easier to read. So take care with the spacing around there. It's already quite busy with these graphics in the background. Let's not make it any harder to read than it has to be. I do like that has allowed, obviously, the video here and the button here to appear on the screen without me needing to scroll. Obviously that's device specific. It won't be like that depending on what device you're looking at, but for me on a fairly standard sized laptop it works quite nice. But a little bit of space in there would help me to absorb that text a little bit more, because the text itself is actually pretty good. So transform your LinkedIn presence in just 1 week. Just 1 week sounds nice and easy, and yes, I want to transform my LinkedIn presence. Could it be a little bit stronger? Perhaps we could talk about something specific of exactly what somebody's going to get out of it. What's the average number of engagement that improves, or how many connections you get? Like, it could be a little bit more specific, but it's actually pretty good. And the subhead kind of builds upon that. Struggling to get noticed on LinkedIn? Join my 1 week workshop to build consistent LinkedIn habits that drive real business results. So it does tell you exactly the kind of thing that you can expect. It's clear to me as soon as I land on the site what this is about. What perhaps isn't so clear is this link here is obviously the main call to action. So this is the link we want people to click, but the button on it says starts 20th of January 2025. Now that does a couple of things. One, it doesn't scream urgency, because 20th of January, depending on when you're viewing this, if you were viewing it a couple of weeks ago, you might think I've got loads of time to make a decision. So it's not necessarily creating the urgency to purchase that you'd be looking for. So that's one thing to consider. But the main thing there is that it doesn't tell me what's going to happen if I click this button. In fact, to many people, that might not even be an obvious button, because there's no hover over effect on it. When I move my mouse onto it, nothing changes on the button to indicate that it's clickable, other than obviously my cursor changes to the little pointing kind of thing. But normally you'd expect to see the color change or some other effect on there, animation effect, to show me that that button is clickable and I should click it. And the text should probably read something more along the lines of click here to secure your place, or something like that, with the Hurry starts 20th of January 2025 as some text underneath, just to really kind of emphasize, look, it is starting soon, you are going to have to act really quickly without making it a really prominent thing as it currently is on the button. As I scroll down, I'm going to go through some of the rest of this fairly quickly. So we've got a nice testimonial here, that's good. Maybe not the easiest to read, the black on the green background, and I think that's a symptom across the whole landing page. There's a lot of coloured backgrounds going on, where I think some simplicity in terms of white backgrounds would help make the whole page a little bit easier to digest. In particular, it would also help with some of the more design challenges like this, where there's very little spacing between the text and the borders, making the text a little bit more difficult to read. This could probably just be a white section, and that would work just as well. And we use the green to really bring attention to these testimonials or to certain sections that we want to get that attention on. But overall, I don't think the landing page is the problem here. I think there's definitely things that could be improved. I think it's more along the lines of the copy and messaging that needs to be focused on, and a few of these design elements. So we're talking here in this 5-day workshop, you will optimize your LinkedIn profile to attract your ideal clients, grow your network with meaningful connections, and so on. So this is talking about what you're going to get and the benefits, and that's good. Again, perhaps could be stronger, could have a little bit more on there, but it kind of does what you'd expect. It's giving me a nice quick summary of what I'm going to get from the 5-day workshop. I will say, obviously, swapping between saying a 5-day workshop and swapping between saying 1 week may be a little bit confusing to some people. Is it 1 week that includes Friday and Saturday? Are you talking about a working week, Monday to Friday, 5 days? Like, perhaps just pick either 5 days or 1 week and sort of stick to it throughout the page, just to avoid any potential confusion there. The biggest thing, though, that I think this page is missing is, as we scroll down further down here, again, the white text on this green background perhaps isn't the easiest to read, but again, we're talking here, so you can get the proven framework for just £75, a fraction of my usual 1-to-1 rate, £7.95. And that £7.95 figure Ashley also mentioned on his LinkedIn post as well, that he normally charges that, and now he's struggling to draw people in for 75. Yet that is so far down the page and hardly even mentioned. Like, if this is a thing, and I don't know how much different this Kickstarter offering is compared to the 1-to-1 rate, but if this is a genuine bargain, which I believe it probably is, knowing Ashley and the amount of effort and the level of information he puts into these things, £75 is going to be an absolute bargain, but it's not really pushed here as a really kind of strong point of, look how much you are saving. I would normally charge you £7.95 to have a one-on-one session. We're going to do away with that high price, and I'm going to open it up as a group, but I will only charge you £75. That could be a much stronger message in the top section here to really emphasize that value that is on offer from a monetary point of view. As we go down to this part here, I just want to mention on this, don't forget the extra bonus sessions. Now, my first thought when I see this is, what extra bonus sessions? What are you talking about? Now, admittedly, I haven't read the page word for word, but that's deliberate because most people won't come to a page like this and read every single word in turn. What most people do is a bit like I've been doing, which is you come to the page, you read the headline, you read the subhead, you decide, is this worth me spending a bit more time on? If you decide it is, you then start scrolling through the page a little bit and you look and you just pick out sections. Okay, in this 5-day workshop, I'll learn this, right? Okay, that's interesting. And so you kind of scan through, you look for, oh, here's what you'll get. And you'll pick out that part and you look for what is relevant to you. You won't necessarily read the whole page word for word. And so we can't assume that somebody knows what these extra bonus sessions is. I don't even know if that's mentioned anywhere on the page before that point. If it is, then great, but still, we still can't assume that. So I'd kind of look to change the wording a little bit there and make more of this of also includes all of this as a free bonus or whatever, however we want to actually word that. The course curriculum is good. I think I would want to perhaps put I know we've got these nice buttons here, we've got lots of these buy now buttons, which is good, but I'd possibly want to have this above the course curriculum as well, because the course curriculum, not everybody will want to see that level of detail. That level of detail could actually put some people off. We're saying it's quick and easy. If we show too much detail, it might put some people off. So what we could do to potentially get around that is have these boxes collapsed by default, so that it makes it much more condensed and it doesn't look like too much information. Also keep in mind here, untitled section, not the best section title there, so that probably needs to be reworded. But if we had them all collapsed by default, that then suddenly doesn't look quite as overwhelming, and people can still expand them if they want to see the level of detail behind each section. And then as we go down, we've got this, what makes me different. Probably look to increase this font size slightly, just to make it a little bit easier to read. And also, I'm not sure why we've got Ashley Leeds. So good they named him twice. So maybe obviously like little errors like that can have an effect on conversions because it sort of looks slightly less professional. They happen. I have them on my own site, and you find them and you really kick yourself when you find them, so they happen. But obviously when you do spot them, just make sure you fix them so that other people aren't put off by them. But yeah, overall, I think, as I say, page is okay. I think it does need some work for sure. I doubt it's the main reason why Ashley hasn't been able to get all of these sales, but it will certainly be having some level of effect. And I think by working on improving the page, he'd probably find that he was able to get some more sign-ups from the people who do visit the page. So hopefully that's been useful. This video is going over to Ashley as well. He's agreed that I can share it publicly. So yeah, hopefully you've all learned something from that. Thank you.